Alright, up for our review today, we're going to be going over the Vermeer S800TX mini skid steer. Bought this machine about 2 months ago. It's not new, it is used. Came with a little over 500 hours on it. Operation-wise, it has a 2,400 pound tip capacity. That's including a 175 pound operator and 840 pound operational weight capacity on the front end. It weighs 3,065 pounds, so just over 1.5 tons. 40.5 inches wide at the tracks, with 46-inch long tracks that are 9 inches wide, which is really nice. It gives you a 3.9 psi ground pressure. That's of course unloaded, so you're not going to be tearing up your customer's ground all too much. And with that narrow track width, you can really get into some tight spots that you wouldn't be able to with the full-size skid loader. What also is really nice about the narrow width is that on a medium-sized trailer, we can get our Bandit stump grinder and this on the same trailer side by side. Makes it really convenient to get to the job site. So standard hydraulics on this thing are high pressure, 3,000 psi, 15 gallon per minute flow. We also have the optional low flow hydraulics on here, which are 6.5 gallons per minute. Operation wise, the high flow does have a detent, so you can lock it in. If you're using like a snowblower attachment or something like that. Low flow does not. It's strictly lever operated and spring return. There are two different engine options on this machine. You can get the 35 horsepower Kubota diesel or the 40 horsepower Kubota gasoline. This is the diesel model. There are some discrepancies in the literature. Vermeer is claiming 35 horsepower. Kubota is stating a 29.1 horsepower continuous with a 33.5 horsepower intermittent power. And I'm thinking what the discrepancy is that a few years ago they standardized the testing methods. And before that it was probably rated at a 35 horse, and since they standardized them, it's probably been dropped down to a 33.5 intermittent with the new testing method. That's a little confusing, but I'm sure it's just an honest mistake. It says 14.5 gallon fuel tank on here. It's actually dual tanks, one on each side, but they run together, so you only fill one side, it'll pull through both. 13 gallon hydraulic tank with a 14.5 gallon total hydraulic capacity with fluid in the lines and filter. Stands 57 inches tall with an 84.5 inch dump height. You're not going to be able to get quite that. That's actually 84.5 inches to the hinge pin on the loader. This guy has 6 inches of ground clearance, so you can actually get over quite a bit if you're running through brush and whatnot. Let's go ahead and do a walk around and check out some of the controls and some of the features on this. All right, here on the right side of the machine, we have the right fuel tank. Has a fuel gauge there. Got your ignition, got your manual storage, and nothing really else here on the right. Here on the front of the machine, big thing to note is the hydraulics. The left side is the low flow optional. Right side is your high flow standard. And in both cases, the middle attachment point is for attachments that have an auxiliary hydraulic tank on the attachment itself. You do have a crane hook right here on the boom. You have a tie-down point right down here. This is your air intake right here. Lifting the hood. Does have a lock. You got your Kubota under here, battery, hydro fill. Air filter's right here. It's a bit of a pain in the ass cleaning out the air filter. I find it's easiest just to take off the bracket that holds the battery down and slide the battery over, and also remove the lid for the hydraulic fill, just to make sure you put something in there so you're not dropping dust and shit in your hydraulic oil. Right behind your hydraulics, you have the loader lock built into the machine, which is pretty nice. Also, I find really handy is that the pins holding in place have a cable locking them to the boom lock itself. Maybe a bit unnecessary because we all know that nothing ever gets lost, right? Vermeer, definitely a nice touch there. Points of interest on the left side of the machine here. You've got your glow plug up here. Under there, you've got a 12-volt DC accessory outlet. You also have an odometer down here. We're at 597.2 hours on this machine. Grease chart, which definitely comes in handy so you guys know to hit all the grease ports. Here's the operator station. You have your throttle on the right side of the machine. You've got your boom operation, the single lever. You've got your high flow hydraulics here on the right side with a locking detent. You've got your low flow on the left with a spring return detent, oil pressure, oil temperature, and then you've got hydraulic oil temperature. Here on the operator platform, you do have a spring-loaded platform to make it a little more comfortable for your employees. Also, it automatically activates the parking brake when you're off of it. It's a hydraulic parking brake, and when you get on there, it releases it. Nice foam pads to make sure you're not getting banged around too terribly much. The pads also fold out. Under here, we have access to the electronics controls, the coolant reservoir, the hydraulic fluid filter, 2 radiators and one pretty much down here. You on the left side, you've got your hydraulic fluid radiator, and on the right, you have your engine radiator. Easy access to all that, which is pretty handy. Also on the left track here, You have a manual release of the parking brake in case you need to tow this machine for some reason. Another really nice feature that I forgot to mention on this machine is that because of the narrow track width, you can run this on a single sheet of 4x8 plywood, whereas on a big skid steer you gotta have one for each track. So you need half the amount of plywood. You just toss the plywood on the pallet for it, so you just drive it out. It makes it really fast to load and unload all the plywood. Alright, so for controls on this thing, you got forward, back, left, right, and then of course any combination of them. But like I said, it's a little counterintuitive going backwards and right at the same time, because when you're going back, you actually go to the left to turn the front end left. So it's kind of opposite of a vehicle. Then for loader operation, up, down, scroll up, and then got my other GoPro in the way, but that's down. Throttle. And then your hydraulics. Let's go ahead and pick some stuff up. To change out attachments on this thing, incredibly simple, just like a normal size skid steer. You do 2 pins, pop them up. Right up to the attachment you want. Probably about 300 feet from this massive backyard up to the front, and the bucket capacity is not great for stuff like that, but a testament to the one-handed operation of this machine, and really made the job go a whole lot faster. Let me show you what I did to speed things up. You absolutely could rig up something running from the back tie down to a rope onto a tarp or whatever you have, but a sled of some kind definitely came in handy. Now, doing that, you're going to destroy the tarps pretty freaking quick, but tarps are cheaper than man hours, so well worth it. Overall, this machine is fantastic, and we're not even really utilizing it to its full potential because we only have a bucket and pallet forks right now. I'm working on them to get a grapple, which is what you really need and what it's designed for. And it's pretty much winter time almost already. Yesterday was Thanksgiving. So we're not going to be using it a whole lot. I'm assuming coming up we'll be slowing down, but hopefully at the start of next year I can talk our boss into picking up a grapple for it. If you're on the fence or you're kind of thinking about it, I would say just go ahead and do it. Or even, you know, rent one for a week and just use it and see how much time it really saves on jobs. Running really big logs from backyards to the front, whereas, you know, without anything you'd have to cut them up real small, which takes a long damn time. Have all your guys humping them out, which takes a long damn time. Even if you had a ball cart and wheelbarrow, it's still going to take a whole lot longer. So the machine just really speeds up the whole process of moving material from A to B. It pays for itself incredibly quick. Anyway, have a good one, humans.